Hello, today is Monday, April 13th, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at two new indicators that we're releasing that solve two common problems that traders of the SPX CBOE index as well as the XSP CBOE SPX mini index face on TradingView. Okay, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the two new indicators that we've released to solve these problems. And first off, we're going to take a look at VWAP. So right now we have the chart on SPX CBOE. Now this is the official SPX, regular SPX index on the CBOE exchange that everyone follows. So this is the symbol that you would use the indicator on, the SPX Daily Key Levels V3.0 indicator, if you're trying to trade SPX options on the regular SPX exchange. So the problem with VWAP as far as utilizing VWAP on the SPX CBOE symbol on TradingView is that the CBOE Global Indices data feed that TradingView has through CBOE does not include volume data. So consequently, if you try to use a native VWAP through TradingView on this particular chart or the XSP SPX mini index chart, then you run into this problem. So we have the two VWAP, native VWAP indicators here. So first is the native VWAP, and then we have the VWAP AA, which stands for VWAP Auto Anchored. So you can find both of these if you go to TradingView indicators and then you look up volume weighted average price. You'll see this one here. And then you look at VWAP Auto Anchored, and that is this one here. So these are the two native ones that TradingView provides on their platform. As you can see here, both of these have red exclamation points. And that's because there is no volume data. So consequently, since there's no volume data, it cannot plot the VWAP for the SPX. So your alternative in doing this is either A, you have to turn on a different symbol such as ES Futures and then have the VWAP on ES Futures and have a separate chart open for that, which you can do, except that that also involves having a different chart open. Some people may not have multiple monitors. It may be very inconvenient. Some people trade off of their phone even, so obviously if you're on your phone, there are no multiple monitors either. So this can present a problem, and it has been an ongoing problem, and for whatever reason, CBOE does not provide the volume data to TradingView for either the SPX CBOE index or the XSP, which is also through CBOE, and that is the official mini SPX index. However, our new indicator, the day trading GPS VWAP for CBOE SPX, does actually provide the VWAP despite no volume data for SPX CBOE. So this allows you to now have the VWAP on your SPX CBOE chart. You no longer are going to have to open up two different charts, one with ES Futures, or for those that want to look at SPY, or putting a second chart with SPY on it as an example. As you can see here, the VWAP line itself, the default color is a bright light blue. And it's a bright light blue as the default because it's meant to use with the ribbon indicators, whether you're using the free ribbon indicators that we have pointed out recently in our SPX videos over the last 4 to 6 weeks to use. Then one is the Annie's ribbon and the other one was the Madrid ribbon. Those are the two free ribbon moving average indicators on TradingView. And as an example, if we turn on Annie's ribbon as an example, as you can see, that has two thick moving average lines within the whole moving average ribbon. And so if the VWAP was also yellow, it would be kind of hard to discern between these and the VWAP. Now you can change the color of the VWAP, and you can also change the color of the upper bands and the lower bands to a different color if you prefer. And you can also change the line style of the VWAP and the bands, as well as changing the line width if you prefer to have a different line width for either the bands or the VWAP. So as you can see here, this gives you more of a complete picture of what exactly is going on, especially when you're using it with the ribbon indicators. Now it's the same problem with the XSP as I noted before, so we'll just quickly show you the XSP chart. Okay, so now we're on the XSP chart. That's the S&P 500 mini SPX options index for those that like to trade the XSP instead of the regular SPX index because this trades at 1/10 the value, so consequently the options are approximately 1/10 the cost. So for those of you using the SPX Daily Key Levels indicator on XSP, you have the same problems with VWAP. So we'll just go ahead and turn on the native VWAP. And the VWAP, native VWAP auto anchored that TradingView provides. As you can see here, there is the red exclamation points because there is no volume data either. However, if we turn on the day trading GPS VWAP for SPX CBOE, then we have the VWAP. Now the other problem that we've come up with a solution to is the problem with using the standard free ribbon indicators such as Annie's ribbon and the Madrid ribbon that are on TradingView. And that problem is that when you have a significant gap up or gap down, since SPX, CBOE, and the XSP do not open until 9:30 a.m. Eastern New York time, then it can have a tendency to throw off the ribbon because of the large gap. So what we're talking about is medium gaps to large or extreme gaps. On small or very minor gaps, it's not so much of a problem that occurs with these ribbons. It's much so with either a medium to large gap up or down or an extreme gap up or down. So today we have a gap that fits into the medium to extreme. In this case, it is a gap down. As you can see here, here was the Friday close, and then here is today's open. Now, in utilizing this, if you have looked at our recent videos where we talked about using the ribbon indicators to get confluence of either bullish or bearish entries, or to avoid entries where there is a conflict between the signals, then you've seen that in this case we have a bullish entry signal from the Daily Key Levels V3.0 on the opening 9:30 a.m. candle, as it is within the acceptable range. So that is why you're seeing this alert label. And it is, in this case, a close above the bull bear KPL. However, that is negated by the red ribbon. So that negates this bullish signal, so there's simply no trade on this particular 9:30 a.m. opening candle. And we'll see the same thing on the SPX regular index. We'll switch over to that chart now. Okay, you can see the same situation here on the regular SPX CBOE index. And the same thing exists with the Madrid ribbon, another free indicator. Same thing, the difference between the Madrid ribbon and the Annie's ribbon is, if you've seen our other videos where we pointed out both of them, is that Annie's ribbon also includes these two thick moving average lines within the entire moving average ribbon, whereas the Madrid ribbon does not. However, our new day trading GPS ribbon indicator with an option for indexes eliminates this problem on medium to extreme gap ups or gap downs. So as you can see here, we still have the conflict, so we're still negating this particular entry here because the ribbon is red at the time that it's presenting us with this BBKPL bullish alert here on the 9:30 a.m. opening candle. However, the big difference is that now you have, because there's no overhang or hangover effect like you have with either the Madrid ribbon, which we'll turn on now, or the Annie's ribbon, you're not really getting any sort of bullish signal from it until here. Whereas this with the filter, you have the bullish signal occurring here. So you're able to decide if you want to take this entry here on the ribbon turning completely green on this candle here, or perhaps one of these other candles here. As you can see here in this case, this is a close above the PMH. It's also a close above the R1, and it's also a close above the YDL. So if you wanted to take a bullish trade off of R1 as an example, you would simply go in here, you would turn on the QL below R1, or if you already had it turned on, then you would already have it turned on. But the QL level, if you did not have it turned on, would be the QL level below R1, which would be your tight stop loss for a trade based off of R1, or the midpoint below R1 is the standard stop loss. If you instead wanted to base the trade on the PMH or the YDL level, which it also closed above and had the ribbon also entirely green at that time, then you would simply go in here. You would go down to the bullish trade section for the contextual levels. And in this case, if you wanted to select enable bullish entry stop loss with pre-market high, you select either standard or tight. It plots the standard or tight stop loss for that level. And then you can also utilize the bullish entry take profit for PMH with the reward risk multiplier, which has the standard default at $2 of reward for each dollar of risk on the stop loss that you chose. Or you can go down if you want to do a shorter trade to 1.75, 1.5, 1.25, 1, or below, all the way to 0.25 for a very micro scalp. Or you can go above 2 in 0.25 increments all the way up to 30. You do the same thing for the YDL level. So it depends which, since this particular candle did close above all three, which one that you would prefer to base the trade on, either the PMH, the R1, or the YDL. Now, another advantage of our ribbon indicator is that you have both settings available. So you can instead use this also as a regular ribbon indicator by simply turning off this filter, and then you will see the same as with the regular free indicators, the same effect from hangover effect from this. So the advantage in this is that you can turn on this filter You could actually have a split screen, which will now show you, where you have one with the filter on and one with the filter off. So we'll go to that screen now. So as you can see here, now we have a split screen. We have one with the filter on and one with the filter off. So with our ribbon indicator, it gives you that advantage that you can do a split screen, and you could have both side by side, and then you can make up your mind which one that you want to go with. Whereas with the other ones that are free, you don't have that option. You just basically have this hangover effect, period, because you have no filter for using it on indexes. Now, this can also be used for other indexes. It can also be used for the NASDAQ NDX index, the Russell 2000 index, and the Dow Jones index. We are going to come out with a Russell 2000 index. We already have a NASDAQ NDX index daily key levels, but for those that like to trade Russell 2000 options and Dow Jones options, we are going to come out with V3.0 versions for both the Russell 2000 index and Dow Jones index for those people that like to trade those particular indexes. Like I said, we already have one for the NASDAQ NDX. Now you can enable this filter for SPY and ES futures as well, so you can use the same filter on that. So with this ribbon indicator, you could also do a split screen with those as well, one with the filter on and one with the filter off. So it's not just limited to just indexes, although that's the primary reason for it. Okay, before we go into the final part of this video, just a quick look at how today's session turned out. The April 13th session, as you can see, we had a continuation of the move up from the big breakup candle here, which would have been the entry point using the filter here. And then we finally got a move all the way up to R2, and then the YDH, and then all the way at the end of the day to R3. Didn't quite make it to mid R3, R4, but pretty substantial move today. Of course, here's the VWAP as well, and the ribbon set with the filter. Now, if we just take a quick look at the other free ribbons. So first of all, we'll just turn off the filter on this one. As you can see here, you eventually got a move and break above here, but that's not really happening to YDC at the first opportunity here, and then you have it again here, and then eventually end of day towards the end after lunch, you had another opportunity in this zone here. Now with the filter on, as you can see here, the initial bullish entry is still negated by the filter. However, the first opportunity is here, and then you had multiple other opportunities, including some of the same opportunities later that you would have had without using the filter. Okay, so if you are interested in purchasing either one of the indicators, the day trading GPS ribbon indicator with option for indexes, or the VWAP for SPX CBOE index, the links are in the description of this video for purchasing them. They're available individually as well as a bundle with both indicators together. All right, well, thank you again for taking the time for watching this video today, and we wish you much prosperity in all your future trading.